Hello, I'm Nancy Smith Mattox, broadcasting on Shine Your Light Radio Ministry in WYTV 7 in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm so excited to be here with you. I have a beautiful guest that we're going to talk a little bit with today. First, I'd like to just let you know that WYTV 7 is a nonprofit, and we do a lot of things helping children, helping people with financial literacy, helping in our communities. And we're just so excited. And I oftentimes on Shine Your Light interview people that have published books. So I'm real excited about that too. So without further ado, let's get started. Today I have Raykel Tolson, who is from LA, California. So California's in the house tonight. And she is a published author. She's a speaker, and it's going to be real exciting when we hear, what her book is about and how she's doing, and kind of a little bit about her life. She likes to elevate your thoughts and exercise your faith to live an abundant life. That is the byline on her book. So without further ado, let's get started. The name of her book is Why Are Church Folk Poor? So that's going to stem a little bit of interest here, and I hope all our listeners are really going to enjoy that, join this conversation. Miss Raykel, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got from St. Louis to LA.
Well, I was born and raised in St. Louis, and then I didn't like the cold weather. So as soon as I graduated from high school, I hightailed it down to Florida.
Wow.
So I went to college in Florida, and I was living in Florida, had my son, and he decided he wanted to be an actor. So he said, we have to go to LA. I was like, okay. People like, why did you do that? I was like, a lot of times we tell our kids that they should put off their dreams for later. And I was like, if he wanted to be a child actor, I couldn't tell him to put it off to later because he wasn't going to be a child later. And so I just, decided that I prayed about it, and I was like, let's go. And we came out here in 2006, so 13 years ago.
Wow. And how old was your son then?
He was 11.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think that kids learn everything they really need to know in elementary school. Everything after that is just learning on top of what you already know, but as long as you have your foundation. So I didn't mind moving him after he had his foundation.
Wow. So did he ever become a child star? What's he been in? Well,
it's really interesting out here. So he did work, but not where like a lot of people saw him. Some people saw him on this game show, and that made him like really famous with the kids out here. We were in a Walmart, and kids were like, "Hey, that's the guy." Yeah. He got so close a few times, landing a TV show on Nickelodeon, and once they picked somebody else and not him. And then right before they started shooting, they called me and said, we changed our mind, we want him. But I had sent him off to Florida for the holiday. And I was like, he could be back tomorrow, but it's too late. I can't get him on a flight today. And so they were like, well, that's okay. I was like, no. It was
some will come along for him. It'll happen if he just perseveres.
Well, he decided that he was over being an actor. He got into music. He went away to college, and he just graduated with his master's in education because he wants to be a music teacher.
Oh, that's awesome. Is he going to stay out there in California?
Yes, we love Southern California.
Oh, that's just fantastic. Well, I'm real happy for him. I know you're proud of him, and I hope he becomes one of those famous music teachers that we see and hear about all the time. So that's awesome.
That would be awesome. But he's only 24, so it's like he has a long life. He may even get back into acting. Never know.
Well, they're doing all these reality shows now with music and singers and all that stuff. They got one coming up where you write the song, so you just never know.
I saw that. That one looks really interesting.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Well, that's so exciting. Well, let's get back to you. Let's see. So you wrote a book called Why Are Church Folk poor. So let's talk a little bit about that. What led you up to that?
So the title, I know it gets me, people do not like my title at all. But some people are like, they're drawn to it. They're like, why are church folk poor? So I basically wrote it. It wasn't for me. I wrote it for me. All my books I write for me. And I published them. So because I believe that other people need to hear them, if that makes sense. So I write for me. When we moved out to LA from Orlando, I had a $250,000 home. It was on 2.5 acres, almost 3 acres. It was huge, you know? And we moved out here to LA, $250,000 doesn't buy a big home. It doesn't at all. So I had kind of just like decided, I guess we're just gonna be living in apartments. And so I was just like, let me find the best apartments. So I had like this mindset. I don't know what happened. I went from living in the big house and my mindset came out here and said, oh, I couldn't afford to live in a big house out here. So we'll just live in apartments. I can't even afford a house. We're just gonna live in apartments. That's not a good mindset. And there's nothing wrong with living in apartments if that's what you want, but that's not what I desire. I came from a big house. You know, I always lived in a home. And then so living in apartments, it was different for me. But I did that for years. And I didn't really work a whole lot. I was kind of working off and on because I was being a full-time mother, taking my sons to auditions and things like that. So had a job, my credit was good. I heard God say, buy a house. Do you know where I am? Do you know I'm still in LA? I didn't move back to Florida. I'm still in LA. He said, in my spirit, buy a house. So, okay. I laughed. So then I started looking at houses. The cheapest houses were like $500,000. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can do this. And so I'm trying to be obedient. I filled out the information so I can see what I qualified to borrow. Guess how much I was able to borrow? $500,000. I was like, okay.
Isn't that God?
I can get a house. I only have to pay 3% of 500. That's a different story. But so I was like, okay, maybe I can. I told my landlord at the time about my decision to, look for a house to make sure I could get out my lease. And she was over the moon excited for me. She was like, yeah, especially when I told her they were going to be $500,000, but I didn't know she was a real estate agent also. So she's like, we'll find you a house. This is so exciting. She said, what are you looking for? I was like, a 4-bedroom. And she said, stop. He said, why do you need so many bedrooms? She's like, it's just you and your son. I was like, I want an office. I want a guest room. She said, you're getting a room for a guest? She's like, you don't want them to stay that long. Why are you getting a whole room for themselves? And so she just had me laughing. And she said, no, what you need to do is find you a rental property also. She said, so don't look for anything under a duplex because this is the best time so you can get a house and rental property. I was like, that didn't sound right because that just sounded like more money, 2 houses. So she only sent me duplexes or more. I found one that was perfect because I didn't want to live in an apartment looking place, but I found one with 2 actual houses on the property. So it was $640,000. I said, the only one I found I'm not going to be able to get. She looked at me and she said, do you believe in God? I said, yeah, I believe in God. She said, well, didn't he say he would give you the desires of your heart? That's scripture. He said that. Now, mind you, my landlord / rental real estate agent is from Nigeria. And And so she was just looking at me like, in her head, I was like, she must be thinking, these Americans, they don't know the same God I know. And so I just started getting kind of convicted. Like, she's right. Why don't I believe that I can have this home that I want? I work hard. I do all the things I got my credit right. Why don't I believe that God will provide this for me? So we went and looked at the house. I walked in. I knew it instantly. It was the house for me, even though it only had 2 bedrooms. But the second house had 2 bedrooms also. So I got my 4 bedrooms. It was crazy because out here, houses aren't, like, especially the house like this. A lot of people would put offers on the house. No one else put an offer on this house but me. No one else. That's unheard of. So I was like, okay, this really must be so I got the house. The mortgage company ended up saying they would loan me the money because I had renters. So to have rental property. So I was able to get the house. And then throughout that whole process, it was just a faith thing. It was all about faith. It was just faith after faith. I was just building my faith and building my faith. And then it just dawned on me, this is what God wants us to do all the time. Why didn't I have that faith from the beginning? Why didn't I have that faith 10 years ago? And it was like that. And it's like, that's why we're poor. And when I say poor, I don't mean, everybody has a different, definition of rich and poor. I don't think that you have to have a lot of money like Oprah and Bill Gates or anything like that. But when you don't have enough money to meet the needs that you have, that's poor.
Wow.
You understand? So, but we don't have to do that because God has promised us so much in that word. And we read it all the time. We quote scriptures, but we don't live by them. We don't. And when I say we don't live by them, our thoughts aren't up there. So to really know that God will give me the desires of my heart, even if that means it's a $620,000 house. And having
wow. I just love your spirit. It's so beautiful. And it's such a lesson in faith, my word.
Yes, it's a lesson.
Who in their wildest dreams would even think that unless they were very, very faithful and you were doing a walk in faith and you finally realized it. That's amazing.
Yes. And that's where the book came. The book came out of my experience with that walk of faith. And I had to start looking at all the other areas in my life. It's amazing how we have to elevate our thoughts to think like God. And even though he says my thoughts are not like your thoughts, but we can elevate our thoughts higher than where they are, because that's what we have the Bible for, to elevate our thoughts. And then we got to exercise the faith. We have to exercise it because, faith without works is dead. So you got to get out there. If you say you have faith to buy a house, then you got to start saving the money for the house. You got to start looking for the house. That's the exercising of your faith. If you say you want to be a doctor, you have to start studying and you have to take the exams. You have to go to school. You have to do all that. But that's how you exercise your faith. So you're elevating your thoughts and exercising your faith. And that's what this book is all about.
Wow. That's fabulous. So can you elaborate a little more about what's in the book? So, obviously I want everyone listening and all of our viewers to understand about the book and what it is, because, it sounds like we all need to read this book because we all can grow up. We can elevate. We all have room to elevate. So hold the book up again and let us see it.
Can you see?
Yeah. Okay.
And I saw this because it's like the people are in church with their hands up, so the elevation, and then the light. When I saw this, I was like, this is the picture. This is the one. It's like, because everybody, we all want that. We all want to be elevated. We all do. We just have to be reminded that it's possible. So some of the chapters, let me just read some of the chapters for you. The first one is know who you are. And that to me is like the starting point Because when we realize that we're children of God and that we can have whatever we want because we are children of the Most High, it starts right there. Some of us feel unworthy of being blessed or having things, you know, but we realize who we are, children of God, then, you know, that's just like the best place to start. The second one is don't be afraid to ask. And I laugh because some of us, we want things, but we don't think that we should have it because it may look or appear like we're worldly because we want a big house. And I think, and that's not the case. God wants us to have what we want to have. Some people don't want a big house. Some people want to live over in a mountain away from people in a small cabin and there would be happy. Other people like me, I want to live at the beach because I love the ocean. So everybody, you know, we don't have to have the same thing, but it's okay to have a desire for stuff.
Well, I think that's wonderful because I always say if you don't ask, you sure won't get. I mean, you know, you can't be afraid to ask, even if you're told, no, it's not your thing. Yes. But still, I mean, that's part of the walk of faith too.
Yes.
A
closed mouth does not get fed.
You have it in your mind and in your mentality, and you've elevated your faith, and that's what makes you not afraid to ask. So,
right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And okay, let me I have under the exercise your faith, one of the things your actions need to match your belief. So I have a little saying, like here in LA, San Diego is south of LA, and you take the 405 to go south. And I was like, you can't say you want to go to San Diego, but then get on the 405 north. Mm-hmm. So your actions have to match your faith. So if I have faith that I'm going to lose the weight that I want to lose, I can't go and buy a dozen of donuts and eat them all. Because then that doesn't match, my actions don't match my faith. You know, if I want to buy a car, I can't go and spend the money that I have to buy the car on something else. So that's to me is like, that's part of exercising your faith by doing the things that you know you need to do.
Absolutely. And that takes discipline. And a lot of us don't have that. That's where faith comes in again.
Faith.
You know, because we just don't, for some reason we don't think it, believe it, and have faith in it. So therefore things, you know, it leads us off down another path that we don't need to go on.
Right. So. Right. And then sometimes back to the like asking for what you want. Sometimes you have to really decide what you want because maybe you don't want that. And that's why you are having the problems of being disciplined because you really don't want it. You want it because it looks good to want or somebody told you should want it. But maybe that's not what you want at all. And it's okay. But if you want it, then have the faith and, you know, and the dedication and a discipline to go after what you want.
Well, you got that saying, faith without works is dead. So if you have the faith, you got to work for it. So
yes.
Wow.
All the time.
So are there more chapters in the book?
Oh, there are tons of chapters.
Tell us a few more.
Okay, so one of my favorite ones, change your negative beliefs about money. Now, this is why this one is my favorite, because I remember as a little girl, I've always liked money. My parents were school teachers. We didn't always have a lot of money because they were school teachers. But then I remember in the Bible that the pastor reading about it's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Oh my gosh, am I going to hell because I want to be rich? That's what I used to think. And then what's the main money scripture that I used to always hear? The love of money. Well, no, they used to say the money is the root of all evil. Actually, it's the love of money, but they used to say money is the root of all evil. So it's like, I thought I was like an evil child because I wanted money.
I was raised in the Church of Christ, and they constantly talked about money was the root of all evil. And it wasn't until I was grown and started studying myself that I realized that it's the love of money.
Right.
Money itself. But that's one thing they do. They do that to trick us when we're kids and in church, you know, because they don't want us to be so money motivated and so, you know, just so material and motivated. But
exactly.
You know, you learn as you go along. But I don't teach my children or my grandchildren about that. I always say the love of money.
Right.
Because, I mean, you know, people just some of the old timers and old faith, they just really just think money is the root of all evil, and really it's not if you do the right things with it.
Right. And that's the point, right?
Exactly. And it excites me when I see the wealthy, like the ball players or the professional athletes and that kind of thing, giving back to their community, because they're going to get more money and more blessings because they're giving back to their community, and they're just doing awesome things. And I mean, I think that's how we need to raise our kids. I hope one day my grandsons will be professional athletes, and if they are, I want them to know that they have to give back to people from their riches in order to gain more riches. So I think that's so important.
It's important because we need money to run the church. We need money for outreach programs. We need money to help elderly. We need money to help the poor. We need money. So to make people feel like money is bad, having money is bad, was just like, it was a mistake on behalf of the elders. It was a mistake. And we have to, even though we we read for ourselves that it's the love of money, back there in the back of our brain, come on, you know I'm telling the truth, back there in the back of our brain, our subconscious, we still believe that money is evil. And so what we do sometimes, we give it away. Before we even take care of all our needs, we're giving it away because we think, oh, I'm giving it so it's good. But a lot of times we're giving it because we don't think that we should have it. You know, and we have to be careful about that. And I'm not saying not to give money to the church, not to give money to the poor, but we have to be careful that we're not giving because out of fear that money will make us evil, that money will keep us out of heaven.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's what I really want people to get. It's like, think about what you think about money. Now, if it's some negative stuff in there, you got, another negative thing about money, I have to work real hard to get it. That's false. You don't have to work real hard some people work themselves to death to make money. That's right. You don't need to do that. It's not, we don't have to do that. I do think that you have to work. You have to work. If you want to eat, you have to work. I do believe that. But I don't think we have to work as hard as people believe that we have to do to get money. Right. So, but those are those things.
I just honestly believe that if people would share what wealth they do get, they wouldn't have to work as hard because they'd be getting more blessings. And that's a hard concept to understand. I mean, because people work really hard. They don't want to give up their money. But if they would give more than they were getting, then they would get more. They would get more. I just so believe in the concept of blessings and giving blessings. So,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
With that being said, WYTV7 in Charlotte, North Carolina is a nonprofit, and we do take donations to promote our shows. We have a list of broadcasters that do shows just like this. We reach several million people with our shows, and we always are real talk, and we say if we reach one, we've done our jobs. But it takes money to promote these shows and all of that. But a $5 donation to a nonprofit will go a long way on social media promotion. Yes. So I'd just like to add that in there too, because people just they're just so adverse now to giving. And I don't understand that. They say every time they turn around, people are asking for more money. Well, you know, $5 here, $10 there. It doesn't amount to a whole lot of money, but it can amount to a whole lot of blessings back to you.
Well, you know, and then when people say that, then it goes back to their mindset about having to hold on to it because they don't understand that the earth is plentiful, and then we're never going to run out of stuff. So I can give my $5, I can give $10 here, I can pay my tithes to the church because I understand that money is an energy and it's going to keep flowing to me, and God's going to constantly bless me. And sometimes I get blessed with the things I want and I don't even have to pay money for it. My son works for Delta Airlines. How about that? I get to fly for free. I get to go to Hawaii and I don't have to put any money out because God's blessing us like that. So I don't mind, you know, giving it because I understand where my blessings come from. It's not from the dollar. It's really not from the dollar. And so when I talk about being poor and having money and all, I'm not really focusing on the money because money is just energy. So I understand that when I give, I'm going to give back. It's a circulation. That's why I call it currency, because it circulates. We have to circulate it. When I pay my bills, I'm just circulating money and I'm getting that stuff back. I'm not mad when I pay the cable bill because I enjoy watching TV. Mm-hmm. I don't mind paying for my internet because I enjoy being able to talk with you with my internet connection. So,
well, you know, it's all going full circle right back to faith and your good spirit. And I just think it's so important for people to hear. It's refreshing for people to hear this kind of a conversation and hear such a nice young entrepreneur woman talking about it, because people are at their wits' end. They just don't know which way to turn. And if they would just have a little more faith and turn and open their ears and their heart to God, they would find many more blessings, that they would have more. They'd have abundance. And it's an awesome thing. Yeah. So is there one more chapter you'd like to go over?
Oh, okay. I'm glad I have time. One of the other ones is see it before you see it. Because it's kind of weird. You have to think about it. See it before you see it. You have to see what you want before you actually get it. Like, you have to have a vision. You have, like, how should I say it? The house that I wanted, I had to see myself with the house before I could get the house, because it was me seeing myself with the house that caused me to do the other things that I needed to do. I have to see myself with what I want, even as I write my books. I have to see my books reaching people. I have to see people reading my books in my head before I can say, you know what, I'm going to write these books and send them out there. But I have to see it first. So it's really important for you to catch a vision of what you want out of life. And a lot of people are so quick to not have a vision because they're waiting for God to put this vision in them. Well, I always think that God had already put the vision in you before you were born. So I don't know what people are waiting for. It's already there. It's what they want. That desire that you have, God put it in you before you were born. So you don't have to wait for this magical, message from God to say, do it now. I waited, but I didn't have to wait. I waited because God was like, girl, you just crazy. You go and get the house you wanted. He shouldn't have had to tell me that because I already had the vision for the house.
Right, absolutely.
I'm waiting for some, and then so years went by before I got it. We have to realize that what we see it in our vision, we have our vision, and we have to trust our vision. And then just go out there and work for it. So you see it before you see it.
Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, hold up the book one more time for us because we're almost finished. And it is called Why Are Church Folk Poor? Yes. But it's really, really important to see the byline. Elevate your thoughts, exercise your faith to live an abundant life. So I'm
Yes.
so excited for you, and I'm hoping that
you.
you people will purchase your book and bless you more and more and more. It sounds very interesting. You have such a beautiful spirit, and I thank you so much for being on my broadcast today. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you.
When you too, darling, I appreciate it so much. And again, Miss Raykel Tolson is from LA. So we don't get to see that on TV a lot of times. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, okay?
Thank you so much, too. Have a good day.
Thank you.